All right, let's look at exercise 711. This deals with how to allocate limited resources. So this is a decision companies are going to make or have to face all the time because they only have a finite amount of many resources that are needed to produce a product or provide a service and ultimately turn a profit for the company. So exercise 711 reads, Vivian Corporation produces two products, Uno and Dos. Uno sells for $50 a unit and incurs variable cost of $20 per unit. Uno requires 3 hours of machining to be assembled. Dos sells for $90 a unit and incurs variable costs of $45 per unit. Dos uses 5 hours of machining to be assembled. If Vivian Corp only has 1,000 machine hours to allocate, how should they be allocated between the two products? So here, first step is to do a quick contribution margin calculation. And remember, contribution margin, selling price minus variable cost. So for the Uno, contribution margin per unit is $30 a piece. For the Dos, it's $90 selling price less the variable cost of $45. Contribution margin is $45. If you were to just stop there, you might think, oh, the Dos provides a higher contribution margin per unit. Therefore, we should emphasize producing and selling the Dos before we sell any of the Uno. Again, that's a bit short-sighted because what isn't encompassed in this metric here, this contribution margin per unit, is how much effort and work it takes to produce one unit of each. If our limiting resource in this case is the time, the amount of time we have to produce, our production time, it's better to figure out what is the contribution margin per that limiting resource. In this case, the amount of hours it takes to produce one unit. It says it took 3 hours to produce one unit of Uno, 5 hours to produce one unit of Dos. To get the contribution margin per limiting resource, I'm simply going to divide the two. So for the Uno, I'm going to take the $30 per unit in contribution margin, divide it by the amount of hours it takes to produce one unit. I get a contribution margin per limiting resource, in this case per hour, of $10 for the Uno. Now for the Dos, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take the contribution margin per unit of $45, divide it by the amount of time it takes to complete one unit of the Dos, which is 5 hours. I get a contribution margin per hour, in essence, for the Dos of $9. Now I have a better sense of which unit or which product gives me more profit. So for every hour that I allocate to production of the Uno, I'm going to incur or earn one additional dollar in contribution margin than I would if I had allocated that same hour to production of the Dos. Because of this, I should maximize production of the Uno first, and then and only then, once I've maxed out production, again, that should be based off of the demand that you have, then and only then should I start production on the Dos, because I'm going to earn one additional contribution margin dollar per hour allocated to the Uno compared to the Dos.